Hello everyone, welcome to CLG The Judgment Series. In this discussion, we will be discussing the case Surinder Singh Deswal and others versus Virender Gandhi and others, delivered by the Supreme Court. In principle, it was held that Section 148 of Negotiable Instruments Act is retrospective in nature. As you all know, this channel is created to impart legal education in a simple and lucid manner. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon to get further updates. The facts of the case are the appellants and respondent number 1 were partners at a firm called Bhumi Infrastructure Company, now known as GLM Infratech Private Limited. Respondent number 1 had retired and several checks were issued by the appellants to respondent number 1 against the payment for retirement dues. The checks were dishonored and returned via memo dated 7th April 2015 with the remark, funds insufficient. Complaints were filed by respondent number 1 against the appellants under section 138 of the Negotiable Instruments Act before the judicial magistrate. It was decided by the judicial magistrate by his judgment holding the appellant number 1 and 2 guilty for the offence punishable under section 138 of the Negotiable Instruments Act, who were accordingly convicted. The appeal was filed by the appellants against the judgment in which appellants had filed an application under section 389 of Code of Criminal Procedure for suspension of sentence. The appellate court entertained the appeal and suspended the sentence while the appeal was pending, subject to the provision of a bail and surety bond with one security of the same amount, and also subject to the deposit of 25% of the amount of compensation granted by the learned court in favor of the complainant. Additional Sessions Judge, in view of the non-compliance of the order, directed the appellants to surrender in the trial court within 4 days. The appellants failed to do so and filed another petition under Section 482 of CRPC, challenging the order passed by the Additional Sessions Judge. The prime issue considered by the Supreme Court bench was whether the first appellate court is justified in directing the appellants who have been convicted for the offence under Section 138 of Negotiable Instruments Act. Second issue raised by the appellants was that the first appellate court has interpreted the word may in section 148 as shall, and hence it has proceeded on the basis that it is mandatory for the appellate court to direct a deposit of minimum of 25% of the fine or compensation awarded by the trial court for suspension of sentence. Before the apex court, on behalf of the accused, it was contended that the amended section will not apply in the case of criminal proceedings already initiated before the amendment in section 148 of the Negotiable Instruments Act. The appellants further contended on the lines of Dilip S. Dhanokar versus Kotak Mahindra Bank judgment. It was argued that according to section 357 clause 2 of CRPC, that no such fine is payable until the final appeals decision. Another contention in the case was raised based on the language of Section 148 of the Negotiable Instruments Act. The section states, the appellate court may order the appellant to deposit such sum which shall be a minimum of 20% of the fine or compensation awarded by the trial court. The Supreme Court held that the amended Section 148 of the Negotiable Instruments Act confers power upon the appellate court to pass an order pending appeal to direct the appellant accused to deposit the sum which shall not be less than 20% of the fine or compensation either on an application filed by the original complainant or even on the application filed by the appellant accused under Section 389 of the CRPC to suspend the sentence. It is further observed that considering the statement of objects and reasons of the amendment in section 148 of the Negotiable Instruments Act stated herein above, on purposive interpretation of the same, it can be said that section 148 shall be applicable in respect of the appeals against the order of conviction and sentence for the offence under section 138, even in a case where the criminal complaints for the offence under section 138 were filed prior to amendment. Rejecting the contentions of the appellant, the apex court held that the amended section 148 is to be read as a whole with the statement of objects and reasons for amending section 148. Thank you.